The sky bled grey. Not stormy, not soft. Just numb, like the world had stopped pretending to care. Raindrops clung to the broken window of the speeding black car, tracing lines like quiet tears. She didn't look outside. She wasn't here to watch the city breathe. She was here to burn it down. Her name wasn't important. Not to them, not to him, not even to herself anymore. All that mattered was the name she'd written down years ago, carved deep into a blood-stained notebook, etched into her memory, like a curse, Cale Arden. The man with the empire. The mask. The lie. And tonight she was going to meet him. She had been trained for this. Every move she made, the way she walked, blinked, smiled, had been sculpted by precision. She'd spent 6 years underground in places the world had forgotten. Not prisons, not schools, something darker, a network of silence, a program built on vengeance and obedience, not military, not mercenary, just ghosts, people like her, the forgotten, the broken, the angry, given new names, new faces, and one mission: tear down the corrupt from the inside, not with bullets, but with charm, lies, seduction, and secrets, the kind that turned empires to ash. Cale Arden was the biggest mark of them all. At 31, he owned a vast private empire of tech, weapon contracts, and offshore companies. The media painted him as a business prodigy. Politicians shook his hand with practiced smiles. But in the underground, he was called the Lock, because once you got inside his world, you never came out. That's why they sent her, because she didn't care if she made it out. The car stopped in front of a steel and glass high-rise, shadowed by fog and blue neon. She stepped out. Black heels, long coat, eyes painted like smoke. She didn't flinch at the cameras. She wanted him to see her. Just not all of her.
ID. The man at the desk asked, eyes dragging too slow.
She gave a polite smile, slipped a forged invitation into his hand. A fake name. Lana Vale. Art investor. European. Cold. The elevator swallowed her whole. As it rose, so did the silence. Every floor climbed like a countdown. By the time it hit 49, her pulse was still steady. Flat. Dead. The doors opened to music, low and expensive. She stepped into Cale Arden's private gala. A place stitched in black velvet, crystal lights, and faces she didn't trust. And then she saw him. Not directly. From across the room. Through a sea of masks and whispers. Tall. Composed. Black suit. Unbuttoned collar. No tie. Of course not. He laughed at something a woman said, but his eyes weren't in it. They never were. Predator's eyes. Not wild, controlled, patient. He looked like a man who already knew everyone's secret and was waiting for them to figure it out. She hated him instantly. Not because of the mission, but because he didn't pretend to be good. He wore the devil like cologne. Soft. Invisible. Deadly. Good. That made it easier. She approached with a drink in hand, calculating her angle. 3 steps from the corner. 2 from the bodyguard. Smile. Blink. Tilt your head. Mr. Arden? He turned. And for a moment, she felt it. That shift. Like something inside him recognized something inside her. His expression didn't change. Not visibly. But the silence between them did. It thickened. He took her in slowly. Not like a man scanning a woman. Like a man solving a puzzle.
You're not on the list, he said.
She smiled softly. I make it a habit to appear where I'm not expected. That got the smallest reaction, a twitch at the corner of his mouth. Lena Vale, she said, offering her hand. Modern art investor, Berlin and Madrid. He didn't take her hand, just stared at it. Then finally,
I hate art.
She let out a soft laugh. Then I must be in the wrong place. They spoke for 8 minutes. He didn't touch her, didn't flirt, just asked questions that didn't sound like questions. Her favorite sculpture, her worst injury, whether she thought people deserved second chances. She answered all of them, carefully, like a soldier in a dress. And then he said,
Walk with me.
She followed him through a back hallway. Bodyguards didn't move. The music faded. Then the glass doors opened to a rooftop slick with rain. Cold wind hit her throat, but she didn't flinch. He stood at the edge, hands in his pockets, looking at the city like he already owned it.
I don't know who you really are, he said, but you don't blink like an art investor.
She tilted her head. And how do investors blink? He turned to her, eyes darker now.
They pretend to be impressed. You look like you're calculating the distance from the roof to the ground.
Her heart skipped. He wasn't guessing, he was warning her. She held his gaze. I don't like heights.
He stepped closer. I do.
Now they were inches apart, and for a second it felt like something cracked between them. A silent dare, a threat wrapped in magnetism. If she kissed him, it would be to taste his destruction. If he kissed her, it would be to test her soul. But neither moved. He only whispered,
Be careful, Miss Vale. The higher you climb, the harder the fall.
She left that night with shaking fingers, hidden inside leather gloves. Not from fear, but from awareness. This wasn't going to be simple. He had seen her. Not her lies, not her mission, her. And maybe, he was letting her in anyway, not because he was fooled, but because he wanted to see what she would do next. Her fingers still smelled of the leather gloves. She peeled them off slowly, one by one, sitting cross-legged in the small safe-house apartment assigned to her. No art, no warmth, no history, just grey. Like her mind. Cale Arden had looked at her like he knew, like he wasn't just watching her but waiting. She hated that. She was trained to disappear in plain sight, to control every breath, every eye twitch. And yet last night, his words had followed her like a scar stitched too tight. You don't blink like an art investor. The higher you climb, the harder the fall. It wasn't just a warning, it was an invitation. She opened her case file. Black folder. Red ink. Target. Cale Arden. Alias. The Lock. Classified crimes. Human trafficking, denied. Offshore arms deals. Political blackmail, deep asset laundering. Mission objective. Infiltrate. Extract leverage. Collapse operations. Lena circled a single line in pen. No known weaknesses. She smirked. Challenge accepted.
He didn't sleep. He rarely did. Sleep was the hour when ghosts got louder. Cale stood in his office, bare feet on cold marble, watching the security footage from the gala. Frame by frame, there she was, Lena Vale, not real. He'd confirmed that 2 hours after she left. No digital footprint, no European art ties, no legitimate travel history. She was fiction in lipstick and heels. Yet when she smiled, he saw something in her he hadn't seen in years, not since his past burned in a basement fire. She wasn't after his money. She was after him. The question was, why? Pull every camera, facial scan, heat signature, Cale ordered. Jace, his head of cyber ops, frowned. You want us to neutralize? No, Cale said slowly. I want her close, sir. Cale looked up, eyes like frostbite. She walked into my cage. Let's see how long she lasts.
The first message arrived at noon. A single black envelope slid under her door. No sender, no writing, just a card inside. You didn't say goodbye. Dinner, tonight. The rooftop. 9 p.m. K. She crushed it in her fist. He was baiting her, but refusing would make her suspicious. Accepting might make her dead. She chose the third option. Attend. But arm herself. That night, Lena wore a backless black dress. Weapon hidden beneath her thigh strap. Tiny camera tucked in her earring. Hair up. Red lips. Pulse low. The rooftop hadn't changed. Still quiet. Still beautiful. Cale was already there. Leaning against the railing. 2 glasses. 1 bottle of red. She approached without speaking.
You came, he said.
I was curious.
About the wine, he smirked.
No, she replied, about the man who sends threats disguised as dinner invitations. That made him smile. Not with joy, with interest.
You're sharper than you pretend to be.
And you're softer than you act.
He raised a brow. You think I'm soft?
I think you're lonely. Silence. Sharp. Thick. Unforgiving. Then.
You don't flinch at anything, he said.
I've flinched at the wrong things before. It got me hurt. Cale studied her, quiet for a moment. Then he said,
I know a girl like you doesn't show up by accident. So let's play a game.
She blinked. A game?
1 truth, 1 lie. We take turns. Winner doesn't get thrown off the roof.
Her lip twitched. And the loser?
He leaned in. They fall in love. I've killed someone.
That's the truth.
Wrong. I've killed many.